Welcome to the second phase of this module 3. In this session, we'll be looking upon the probability sampling methods. Basically, sampling is divided into probability and non-probability sampling. We'll be focusing here on the probability sampling methods like simple random sample, systematic sample, stratified random sample, and multi-stage sampling. And also we'll be touching upon how to determine the size of the sample in this phase. Let's get into it. So some of the common probability sampling methods are: one is simple random sampling, which means every individual has an equal chance of being selected. For example, from a population of say 1,000 employees, picking 50 names randomly without any conditions. Okay, simple random sampling from the total population, selecting a size, picking a set of 50 samples from the total employees. Whereas in systematic sampling, select every nth individual from a list. Say in the same case, when we look at an example, survey every 10th customer entering a store. Okay, so you would like to do a survey among the customers to identify, say, satisfaction, or to identify what is the feedback they would like to give on a particular product. Probably you can say that if you are using systematic sampling, every nth individual from the list can be counted in. The third is stratified random sampling, wherein you are dividing the population into stratas or groups or small groups and sample from each of them. Okay, maybe you can create a cluster or create a strata based on gender or based on age or based on occupation or any factors. You can group them and then take a sample from them. Whereas in multi-stage sampling, sampling in multiple stages, combining different methods, okay, which can be more than one type of sampling can be added, more than one or two types of sampling methods can be put into the same study. So let's try to understand this with the example which we were looking upon. Okay, so in this case of library, imagine writing all the library card holders names on slips and randomly picking some names, which we call it as random sampling. Whereas in systematic sampling, you might pick every 10th person who visits the library. Okay, say, or every 12th person. If you have more number of visitors, accordingly you can segregate and decide the number. Every 15th or every 20th or every 5th member or person who was entering the library can be taken as a sample for filling the or answering the questions or taking up the survey. And in stratified, that is what we call it a systematic sampling. Whereas in stratified random sampling, to gain insight from different age groups, say there might be, when you take a library, there might be readers who are young, who are very old, children, different age groups can come. So you would like to divide based on age group, say children's, adults, seniors and super seniors. Likewise, you can divide based on age group, divide the population into different strata in other terms, and then take a sample from each group, okay, which we call it as stratified random sampling. And finally, multi-stage sampling is like this could involve choosing some neighborhoods first, then libraries within those neighborhoods, and finally patrons within those libraries. You may involve the method of strata as well as then random sampling. So combining one or more methods in order to finally take up your sample, which we call it as multi-stage or a kind of mixed sampling methodology. Determining the sample size is the next important factor, next important things which you have to look upon. How do you do that? Factors normally influencing sample sizes: the population size, desired confidence level, and margin of error. These three factors are very important when you when you try to determine your sample size. How do you calculate this? For example, for a population of 10,000, you would like to have an attain a confidence level of 95% and a margin of error 5%. How do you do that? Okay, which means like see sample size depends on the factors which is like as the total population, that is a confidence level in the results and acceptable margin of error. In this, if the library has say some 10,000 registered users, the 95% of confidence level and a 5% of margin error requires surveying about 370 respondents. So choosing the right sample size balances the need for accuracy with resource constraints. This would have given you a kind of better understanding about the different probability sampling methods and determining sample size. And in the next phase, we'll be looking upon sampling technique, sampling data collection. What are the different sources of data and how do we go with it will be touched upon, looked upon in the next phase of this module. Thank you for listening to me. See you in the next class.